Hey, it's Lauren. So for today's look and color mood, I'm really feeling like a bright pink-ish kind of look all over. And so I'm gonna start with the Flower Beauty Concealer. I am probably gonna be going for a walk with my neighbor a little bit later today. So what I'm gonna do is wear very light skin makeup. I'm gonna actually do a powder foundation because I find that that tends to be kinder on my skin underneath a mask, and especially because it's warming up a little bit, so I'm trying my best to avoid making my perioral dermatitis flare or make any acne start popping up. Okay, so next I'm going to use the Bare Minerals Matte formula. I really like this one a lot, and I'm going to use the Merit brush for this. I've actually found, even though this brush I think was more kind of designed for their product, it actually applies powders really beautifully. And so what I like to do with the Bare Minerals is kind of tap it all over, and then I go in and buff. And the reason is, when you've got any type of skincare on your face and then you go and put like a powder foundation on top of that, it can kind of grab. Like you can see, it made me look a little more tan. So I like to kind of like pat it in first and kind of set it on top of all of that and then go in and blend. I really like this formula though. This is really good for if you have, I'm gonna do it on my eyelids too. It's really good for if you have any type of texture on your skin because it's a matte formula. It's not going to highlight any raised areas. So I personally, when I was really struggling with my perioral dermatitis, I used this formula a lot because I could camouflage my bumps. And also this particular formula didn't seem to make my perioral dermatitis worse. Like it didn't seem to bring out extra irritation the way that a lot of creams and liquids can. So I like having this pretty much all the time on hand because it's just good for when you really want something light on your face, but you want like a decent amount of coverage still. And it's just kind of a classic, you know? I think it's a really great formula. Always drag down the neck though, so you don't have like a floating head situation. Now I'm going to use some of the Fitglow Lumi Pop. This is like such a pretty bright pinky shade. It's really just a color mood today. So I'm gonna tap this on. I've been kind of playing with my blush and like my placement of my blush, and I've kind of like had some issues. I've been wearing it a little bit further back, which is like, I think more flattering on my face. But one of the issues that I run into is that I kind of, just the way that my eye is kind of set in here, my blush can kind of sit weird if I get too close into my eye. But you know, when you're using it a little bit further back, you do tend to have it a little bit closer to your eyes. So I'm really just kind of playing around with my blush placement, and I'm dropping it almost a little lower again just because of how my bone structure is. It just makes it a little easier for me to apply, and I don't end up with like this weird kind of like almost like buckling that it tries to do. That color though, it's just like, it's just a fresh little happy pink. And surprisingly, blending this over powder is not a complete nightmare. You'll notice I'm just using my fingers because you do get that warmth that helps to kind of melt that cream a bit better. Sometimes I use a brush, but sometimes like certain formulas I think just almost do a bit better with your fingers. And this is one of them. Please notice the mug too. It's a Fitglow kind of day. All right, now I'm going to use the Phytosurgence Mirrored Moonlight. I think it is just so stinking pretty. It's just such a unique texture and the way that it illuminates the skin is just otherworldly. Like, even at the very end of the day yesterday, before I took my makeup off, I was like, wow. I was like, that's just so pretty. I always like to kind of back buff wherever that stops so you don't end up with like a weird line or patch of where your highlighter is. Okay, now I'm gonna put on some eyeshadow. I was gonna do Roen 75 Degrees Warm, but do 1111 today because it just kind of flows better with the overall colors. It's more of these pinky kind of colors. I'm going to start off with this really bright light color. It's called Situation. And these also apply best with fingers. I'm going to start that kind of on the inside here and kind of a tapping and dragging motion. And then I'm going to go in with this darker pink on the outsides. So I was watching Kaki's new swatch video for the Roen lip balm glosses, whatever they are. And she was saying that the formula feels quite different than the older versions of it. And I like chimed in on the comments, and I noticed at Christmas time, Roen put their palettes on sale like 30% or something on Sephora. And I was like, what? The reason why I kind of freak out when I see brands heavily discount their products, I expect the worst at this point, because Bite did that with their agave lip mask. I mean, they did it with all their products, but especially with their agave lip mask before they reformulated and rebranded to be a vegan line. And so now anytime I see heavily discounted products anywhere, I am such a skeptic, and I'm like, something bad is happening. They're changing the formula, they're doing something. And so kind of like what Kaki had speculated was that like when Nikki DeRose left Roen, they may have had to change their formulas after she left. And I could totally see that, because with how much they discounted the products, it makes me think changes are coming. Because usually like brands will do that to like clear out old stock, right? Huda recently did it too. Like I noticed they had like done a whole bunch of their stuff like half off, like buy one, get one free. And she like just revamped her entire line. So anytime I see that happening now, I'm like, something's happening, changes are coming. And I'll just say, if they change the Roen palettes, I'm gonna be very sad, because I love the formula as is. Because my mascara tends to smudge on my brow bone, I like to take a powder, especially if I'm wearing a cream shadow, and just lightly press this into my brow bone where my eyelashes are going to hit. And I'm just using like a translucent powder, so it's not gonna really shift that color that I'm wearing. And it's kind of above where the majority of that color is too, so it's not like changing the color a ton. But yeah, that's just a little something I like to do because it kind of cuts down on the smudginess. Let's see, I need an eyeliner, brows, lips, maybe bronzer. All right, so I'm going to use the Jones Road Navy pencil, and I just wanted something a little different than black. Okay, now I'm gonna do my brows. I'm gonna use the Gucci pencil. I haven't used this one in a while, but since I was like really enjoying the Benefit pencil the other day, figured I would play with this one again. And even though this is the shade, what shade was this? It's 01. It's like their lightest shade. I actually still feel like it's a good match for my brows and my hair. Anytime that I change my hair color, I change my makeup too. I was talking to someone about this the other day, because people are always like, how do you change your hair color? And like every color seems to work for you. And honestly, it comes down to just the undertones that I choose for my colors. And I always change my brows to better match my hair. And I always shift my makeup tones to work better with my hair and my skin. Something that's kind of interesting So most of my undertones are kind of neutral to warm. Anytime I'm buying like foundation and that sort of thing. And so when I was a redhead, I had copper hair because it looked the most natural on me, and it just suited my skin tone really well. But the interesting thing is that when I would wear my makeup, if I did things that were too warm, I ended up looking like the Peach from James and the Giant Peach. So I actually switched a lot of my products to slightly cooler tones to counterbalance my hair and my skin, and it actually would make my makeup pop. So it was like not what most people would probably do or recommend, but it actually worked really, really well. And I find that when my hair is either like brown like it is right now or a little bit darker than this, oftentimes I will use more like warm peachy makeup and things that are more complementary to my skin tone rather than counteracting it. So kind of just like my interesting little tidbit today for like color theory. But yeah, I always try to keep my brows very close to my hair color. When my hair was like copper, I would dye my eyebrows like every time. And so that's why people were like, but your eyebrows are red too. And it's like, well, yeah. No, they're not. Okay, brows. I'm gonna throw on a little bit of a brow gel too, just to kind of fluff them up a bit. And you know, this one doesn't hold, but that's okay. We're trying to use it up. Little definition. Okay. I need a mascara. What do I want to use? I always try to think about like what I'm going to be doing for that day. So like since I'm probably going to be outside for a large portion of today, I want something that's not going to move, which I've actually whittled down my mascaras. So most of them are my non-budging ones at this point because I can't be bothered with mascara that's going to end up all over my face and not stay on my eyelashes anymore. I'm over it. Like, and it stinks when you try one and you're like, well, nope, another one bites the dust. Like, but I just cannot do that. Like, whatever. Okay. I'm really debating. What do I want to use? Since I have on a cream shadow, I'm going to go with something tubing. I'm going to use the Maybelline Waterproof Snapscara. So I've only tried the waterproof. Apparently the regular one is also a tubing formula. So at some point I will try that and report back, but the waterproof one actually comes off really easily with just water because it's a tubing formula. So, okay. So for the lips, I'm going to use the Fitglow lip cream. Normally I use their lip serums. You guys know I love them. I'm going to use their lip cream in the shade Cheer. This color is like super punchy and bright. And so since I'm going to put a mask on later, I'm not going to wear it that bright. So what I'm going to do is use their lip liner in Buff. It's a pretty color even just by itself. And then I'm going to take the cream and just kind of pat it. I just want it to be a very soft, like, kiss of color because I don't want it to, like, smudge off and wear off and be all weird and wonky. I feel like the Bare Minerals has enough color that I don't look super washed out, so I'm actually just not even going to do a bronzer today. So this is today's face. It's got a little bit of that shimmer. It's got a little bit of that navy, a little bit of pop of pink. It feels just very fresh. And so yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. It helps other people to find my channel. I can continue making you these kinds of videos. I love doing this. I love getting up and starting my day this way. If you're new here, I like have switched my shooting schedule. And so like, instead of like shooting at weird hours in the day, like I shoot first thing in the morning now. And I actually really love it. Usually I've got some coffee, so don't mind that. But thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye.